We provide web development capabilities and what's called document management technology, both in the commercial marketplace and to government agencies. And I started it, as the many stories are, with, out of the bedroom, no big funding or anything like that. Had a couple of $1,000s and that was about it. Quit a job that paid really well to get no money for an extended period of time as I grew the business. So, with the subject being growth that you want to talk about a little bit, I can address that because it went from nothing to a business that's about $8 million a year, 40 employees, that kind of thing. And it wasn't real rocket science or anything, not particularly brilliant. Made lots and lots and lots of mistakes as going along, but we're able to muddle through. At the beginning of when I started my business, it was, like I said, me, and I went to the Small Business Administration for help. I needed a lawyer. I needed to figure out how do I start my company. I went to them and said, what kind of help do you provide? And the SBA provides tons of help. They have ex-CEOs that that volunteer to help start up businesses. So you can go in there, and if you're questioning, how do I start contracts, what do I have to have for employees, anything. You start out really small. There's something called a line of credit that you can get with a bank. Find an institution that smaller the better, usually, because you can get a personal relationship going, and that really does matter. And put your checking account, your savings account, any money that you have, pump it into one place and just keep it there. Don't make it with the Bank of America, because they will pay zero attention to you if you're really small. But then what you can do is you can start leveraging off of that. So I took it out of my credit card, put it into the bank, let it sit there. I ended up paying interest on credit card account just so the bank saw that I had money. Then I went to the bank and asked the bank for a small line of credit because I had to buy something, a couple of $1,000. I really didn't need to do that. But I took the money out of the bank, I sat on it for a little while, I paid it back. I took money out of the bank, I sat on it, I paid it back. So that I established a line of credit. Then I'd go to the bank and ask them for a $5,000 line of credit, whatever. Now I have $500,000 line of credit that I can just write a check any old time on. I still don't have to. On occasion, I've had to use it in the last 25 years, and it's great that it's there, and just keep growing it. And if I need to use it to expand, there's no questions asked at that point. I don't have to go to the bank and say, hey, here's my business plan, here's my logic, can I have $50,000 to hire some employees or something. So you can start and file tomorrow that you have a company. Call it whatever the heck you want to call it, doesn't really matter. Get in there and file, because there are some rules related to in some of the government agencies as to how long you had to exist and that you had to provide those services. So if you can fix my car and charge me $200 and we have an invoice exchange, you're better off to do that like now, so that you have a history of providing the services and you establish the company now. Don't wait till even you want to file for the brilliant invention. Do it now, and then you have that shell to be working with later on. So you were established in November of 2012 versus 2013. Just start off as a sole proprietor, and then go talk to, if you're have particular liability issues because you're getting stuff manufactured, you can become an LLC. You can file as a C Corp later on. The key to anybody's success in a business, in my mind, is having good people and keeping them. So acquiring good people, keeping them, happy. Those are the keys, because if you're going to grow beyond X size, you're going to need other people to perform services for you. And so in the early days, when I didn't have the cash flow to pay, Amanda the $200,000 a year that she's worth, then I would offer Amanda stock possibilities depending on the growth that she helped me accomplish. And I was able early on to grow the employee base by doing that. And I got a couple of really good people. They stayed around forever. I still have the first employee from my company 25 years ago. I've also used stock to acquire other organizations. So if there's somebody that has a little business that maybe isn't perfect, and you're starting something, and you can pull them in underneath and get some growth out of it by getting buying some expertise, basically buying a piece of a market or anything like that. So, for example, in the very early days of the internet, there was a couple of guys and a woman working out of this guy's basement. The guy didn't know how to sell, but he knew how to design and provide the technology. So it was a symbiotic, relationship. I was able to come in and not pay him $500,000 for his business. I was able to come in and say, look, we're going to grow this thing to be much bigger. Why don't you come join me, and you can take a percentage of the business if this or that happens. You can sell anything, So in his case, he's consulting, but they're reselling. The manufacturer makes a table. The manufacturer will sell it to me for, let's say, a 30% discount or something, and then I can sell it, through to government agency, right? So I resell software in many cases. So we get the software at, for it's $1,000, we get it for $700. We turn around, we tell the government agency, all about how great the software is, and the government agency buys it. It's reselling it. I have no real risk. It's basically like a pass-through, other than I can sell. And I think the key thing, even if you don't picture yourself as a salesperson, you really need to learn how to sell. If you can sell,
and you guys have people skills.
You have to have people skills. Yeah, you're selling to your partners, you're selling to your bank, you're selling to your suppliers. You just need to, and some people think of sales as a real dirty word. Sales is basically knowing how to remove the barriers to doing business. There's no reason why you and I can't be doing business, although, you might not trust me, or you're afraid to spend your money, and, some other things like that. They're just naturally in the way of you buying something from me. Selling, and you'll all be in the position of selling if you're owning your own business in one fashion or another. You need to learn how to negotiate that process and let it happen. And that's what sales is. It's not pushing something down somebody's throat that they don't want. It's avoiding the pitfalls of the process so that it happens, so that the deal goes through. It doesn't sell much of anything at this point. So pure social media, being Facebook and LinkedIn and the networks. Things like Groupon and other things which are directly related to purchases. If you're in a retail, if you had a gym and you wanted to get exposure, Groupon, something like that will turn into business. Rest of the social media, from the aspect of just trying to promote what your business is, what your items are, doesn't do a whole hell of a lot. It's nice, it's a good thing to have, everybody should be on it, that kind of thing, but direct relationships, selling, partnerships with other organizations, things that you develop on your own are what's gonna drive most businesses. Most business to business, business to business.